Okay, welcome. Soul Speaks 5D. Haruko's in the house. And I don't know what we're going to get into. I was just telling her a second ago that it was perfect timing because I think I reached out to you like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I'm going through something. And right after that, I started going through something. And I feel like it started, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, well, I guess yesterday was the first, right? So I don't know. It felt like things started coming, or maybe the month was ending, or the month is starting. But God, I woke up. I went to bed early. Woke up early, and worked a little bit, and then I felt the energy start kicking up, and I laid down and slept for a couple hours, and I'm like, what I got to do today? Oh, Haruka, oh, it's perfect. So, how you been?
Yeah, intense ride.
Hmm.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the winter was long here, so we were allowed to go much deeper. I've been living here for about 16 years, and every winter it just humbles me and go. We are pushed to go deeper and deeper if you're allowed to do so. With the winter time, which we have the gift. Winter time is such a gift to go deeper.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And what about the summer?
So summer is
The
just
fire.
starting. Yes.
It's
Equinox and, solstice, and it feels like one cycle is, you know, not really ended, but it's like, something just went there and then new is coming. That's what it feels like for me. I know it's every day is new, but in a bigger picture, there's much more expansion that I can feel for the summertime, which is natural in a natural cycle, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Does the 777 bring anything to mind for you? This, being a 7 year and it's July the 7th, this week, like this
Oh,
first week, I don't know. Like,
right.
I don't know. It just, about the time that I think I reached out to you right afterwards, I started seeing 777 everywhere,
Hmm.
like street, on street corners and just everywhere. And it
Hmm.
just kept jumping out of me. I don't really know what it means. What I did feel is that it felt like I don't know, like it's all been about getting to know ourselves, who we really are,
Mm-hmm.
but we do that through other people. I
Mm.
think that's part of it. Like, everyone's a mirror, and if you see something in somebody, you don't see it in yourself, and all those sayings and everything. And but this feels like, to me, it feels like getting to know yourself
Mm.
and nobody else. Like it's just you right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Something
I
like that.
mean, mm-hmm. Well, makes sense. I mean, that's been sort of my focus since this winter. That I kind of stopped listening to other people's stories and even informations,
Right.
because I start to see how important it is to really clearly see ourselves, and really align. I mean, we've been saying this many, many years, but it's just another level of like really, really being here and merging with every aspect within us, child, the mother, the father, to be the ideal mother, to be the ideal father, and really to be the free, expressive child, and have that clearly
Mm.
together as a family,
Yeah.
and if you don't have that resolution of like any kind of trauma or you know any misunderstanding and false belief system, attending all these conferences, and I really clearly witness what is filtering, uh, in this person, how they're bringing in information, and how they are, in a way, reacting to the information and bringing through in with a filter. And there's some part of me like, no, I can totally feel his filter, affecting the storyline
Right,
and the
right.
way they creating their own reality. And it's such a responsibility for them to be a speaker, to be speaking in front of many people and not having clear filter. I've been just observing, oh my gosh, I really need to clean myself up more, and in order to be speaking in front of people and bringing the information. And so my focus has been really more and more, creating this sacred relationship within and
Mm,
have this clarity as much as I can so that I can connect with the source that we are, and be,
mm,
and just being, naturally, express some kind of light frequencies. And then, if we are called to, like, Soulogy or any other podcast or any other, events, if you're called to, then you just naturally express it instead of trying to convey the story or trying to show them my information. It just becomes more distorted.
right.
So how can I be organically really being and yet be able to express? And so it's been a practice too, Mm-hmm.
Well, I can see it. I see it on your face. I see it in your aura. Like
Oh.
you're, yeah, like you're on the other side of something. I kind of feel that way too, but my body still
Mm.
feels really hot. Like there's a lot of DNA burning off, or you
Oh,
know,
me too. Me
blockages
too.
burning off, or
Oh,
something.
me too.
But
Every day.
yeah, I really like
Mm-hmm.
what you said, because, like, what you were saying and what you were seeing outside of you, you immediately went, "Oh, I need to clean my stuff up. I need to take
Mm-hmm.
another look," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's happening to people. We're not getting stuck and looking at someone else and seeing all their flaws and thinking that, I'm not saying that we're consumed by it, but now we're starting to do what you're doing, and that is you go right back to yourself. You said a
Mm-hmm.
lot there. There for me, there seems to be a very synchronistic, spontaneous, uh, energy or way that's occurring that works all the time. In other words, we used to get like a synchronicity and go, "Oh, I need to do this or something," but like it's happening throughout the day
Mm-hmm.
in what you do with the day and like your plans that are coming up. I don't know, something like that. To me, I don't know if you know, I'm going to get this out in the next 2 days. We're doing a Syllogy Fest in Houston, December 8th, 9th, and 10th. And
Wow.
and that happened that way. It just all kind of happened and showed itself. And I kind of went, that doesn't make any sense. And then I just went with it. And I'm
Mm.
realizing that that's how this works. And I think having the awareness that you're talking about, where now we're going to go out, I guess we're going to go out and mix, and and yeah, we want to be clear on what we channel ourselves, whether we're a presenter or a performer, or somebody that's doing another part, right? I mean, even if we're
Mm-hmm.
just having a conversation or just being present, that's a lot of really high frequency energy, to have people showing up, um, without agenda, with
Mm-hmm.
the self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
of being conscious and present with themselves and therefore each other. And really, is this the first time we're really starting to do this now in 2023?
Mm-hmm. Right. And then everybody is a speaker, of course.
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
artist and musician. And yeah, it's such a circle that we are, feeling to create more, in oneness in
Yes.
our heart. And we've been saying this for many years, but we are really getting to understand what is this really, and what
Yeah.
is this to feel and really create. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
It's
that's wonderful.
yeah. Yeah. I'm going to talk to you about it,
Mm.
because if you're not doing anything, you need to come.
That's possible.
I'm working on a
December is.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on a schedule
Oh,
right now
thank you.
in between naps.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I have you on the list. I
Oh,
haven't.
thank
I
you.
just put one little post out, but yeah, it's about to. We're about to roll with it. It's going to be different because everyone that comes, everyone is a star. Like there are people I'm reaching out to, like you, Dr. Joe Delaney's coming from England,
Mm-hmm.
and there's other people. It's materializing. It's just happening on its own, like in the
Mm-hmm.
flow, like what I was talking about, like even talking to you about it right now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, more on that later. We're here to talk about you. You said something else that I've heard more and more people saying, but when I heard you say it, it meant something or it felt different. And maybe it's just me. Maybe you just gave me some code, but I'll tell you what it is. So you hear more and more people saying that they're self-sourcing and that they're not watching other people, right? And you used to hear that before, but I
Mm-hmm.
think before it was almost like a bypassing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I just realized that when I was listening to you, and for the first time, really understanding, or at least now understanding why self-sourcing is so important. Because the thing about self-sourcing, regardless of what you're trying to source, you're present with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your focus is on yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow or another, that's the way that going through that method, I think maybe you just described it, is how we if is how we interact now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then you said that we are all stars, right?
Hmm.
In another level of the star is like star, in the sky.
Yeah.
And all the stars, the sun is self-sourced,
Right. Right.
and that's the way we can coexist and really recognize that, going to different, events, and if people are just seeking outside of the source, looking for, trying to listen to outside source, they're
Hmm.
kind of like giving the power away. They're not really listening. They're not really going inside. So, they go to like UFO watching with this speaker or something. They can't even see UFO, of course. And they're complaining, like, I paid so much,
To
and
see
I
a
can see.
UFO.
Like, of course, don't look for outside. Go within. That's the way to connect with everything. And so I think the old way, really, the way we participated as a way shower, on the stage, is really ending,
Yeah. Yeah.
and mm-hmm,
Yes. I hear what
yeah,
you're saying, and you're saying it in a
mm-hmm,
very nice way.
mm-hmm.
I really do. Um, yeah, I there's yeah, my friend, I don't know if you know him, Ty Hudnall, he's the one I make the music with.
Yes, yes.
He's a esoteric astrologer, and he's been studying different um, things since his teenage years, along with the music and mixing it all, with the sacred geometry, colors, and all that. But when I left Sedona in December, we were talking about 2023s, and I said, what is your reading on it? And he said it's the year that the guru falls.
Mm.
But he didn't mean it in a bad way. He just
Mm-hmm,
meant
of
that
course.
people are self-sourcing, self-empowering, self-actualizing their
Mm-hmm,
embodiment. And
mm-hmm,
so that I really feel like that's what's happening this year. This year's
mm-hmm,
just been a totally different kind of year. The energies, the way the universal energy works with us is different. But there's still a lot of stuff getting burnt off and
mm-hmm,
shedding.
mm-hmm,
And of course, being that we're all starting to look at ourselves more and more, if not all the time, we're seeing some things that don't always feel good being released or
mm-hmm.
transformed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we are really learning to be the creator, conscious creator.
Yeah.
And in order to be that, we have to be as clean as possible,
Mm.
right? And then in the heart center, and that's where we all connect naturally. So why not connect in that place,
Right.
individually?
Right.
That way, it will be effortless to connect with others, you know? um, I witnessed a little bit of that when I attended the event that was organized by Native American grandmothers,
Oh wow.
and that was in March equinox, And I really witnessed the possibility there. It was like a being like a glimpse of the new earth was there, and the power of the grandmothers. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, they can embrace everyone really, and
Yes.
I deeply, deeply witnessed it. And there was the circle, you know, and there were men too, but man
Yeah.
was just so holding the foundation for
Right.
the woman to express. And I remember this drawing that I did, Peace on Earth, and before I drew, I asked the spirit or the source, how does the peace on earth look like? And it was this, I can show you
Hmm.
this.
Oh, wow.
So, so there's this masculine right here. That's you know, instead of oppressing from the top, like in the old earth, it's just supporting from the bottom, and then the divine, the feminine
Uh-huh.
is really expressing.
Wow.
And that way the true abundance and happiness and beauty flourish and birth out, and then this sword that was fighting sword turn into the lotus flower, and
Mm.
then these are the cosmic being who has been holding the space for the earth. So anyway, I
Wow.
felt like I witnessed this one there. I'm like, wow. I was like getting the goosebumps. Like this is really the beginning, and I could really feel that really exist. And just because everybody gathered and put our heart together, it's just that power of manifestation and the harmony that I felt, and the comfort and safety that I felt, it was really refreshing.
Where was it?
That was held in a Serpent Mound. Um, it's called Star Knowledge Conference.
Oh,
That's
I've heard
been,
of that. Oh, you
yeah,
went to that. That's
continued.
very cool. Yeah, I know
Mm,
quite a few people that have gone to that over the years, are involved with it.
mm,
I remember, I think it was my first or second trip to Sedona, and it was like a weekend, and I was going to cover like these three conferences, and just film and go live and interview people. And it was so funny because it was the first time I ever really got a dose of Sedona. This would have been like in 2018, I think.
mm-hmm,
And so the very first day on the Friday, it was going to be like from early Friday till Monday. It was three different conferences. And the very first event was in the courtyard of this community center. And it was all the Zuni and Hopi. There was probably about 40 or 50 Native American, right?
mm-hmm,
And most of them were dressed, in their celebration, in their, and but that first late afternoon was just the women and the children
mm-hmm,
in the middle, and they were dancing and singing, and they were bringing in, like, bringing in the energy or the essence, or they were setting the stage for that particular conference. And
mm,
the interesting thing is that after that event, everything that I covered was very, very, even for me, it seemed to be very patriarchal,
mm,
very old masculine. And I thought, wow, that's strange. But I did watch it over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years since then, how it's changed, because I've been there like 11 times and stayed for periods of time. But yeah, I saw that. I love that, that whatever that is that you made of it, that picture you made of it.
mm-hmm.
Was you made that afterwards or before?
Oh, this one I made it in 20. Let's see, 2004.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's 19 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm still learning from them.
Is that when you were living in Sedona?
No, that was when I just moved here in Mount
Oh, okay.
Shasta.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
Wow. Have you been working with Shasta?
working with the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a partner in a way,
Yeah.
it's um yeah, dedication of my life, daily life, in a way.
Yeah.
um and yeah, the mountain energy is very strong after many years of cleansing. And but I still feel, the way people come here and do some activities, I really feel the voice say no plant medicine.
Really?
um just because, well, people do ayahuasca or other stuff, and what I feel is that, well, this place is such a portal and it's a sacred place. So if you bring any other confusing fear or
Right.
anything that affects the portal, also creates unwanting portal,
Right.
So you have to be really respectful with a sacred place like this. Not that, plant medicines are not sacred or anything, but it has to be really, really clear. On top of it, ayahuasca is not from here. So, if you take it in the jungle where that plant is from, I
Yes.
think the nature itself support that. But if you bring that foreign stuff here and, do it without much clarity, I feel like nature doesn't support here. That's just my observation, and so as many other, it's just really the intention, but also to respect
Yeah.
the elemental here. Is this the right place to do? Just like the common question maybe you can ask, instead of
Yeah.
okay, let's do this. This is a sacred ground. We're gonna just, bring more visions, and it's like, what is that deep intention within you?
Right. Right.
So
No, I
really,
think that's a great point. That's a great point.
mhm. And going back to really listening, it's like, what do you really, really want? What are you really searching for? Are you trying to borrow the power from the plant, or you're not really, not really understanding who you are, and how can you, use the plant medicine?
Right.
Who are you?
I think it
You're
goes
a
along.
divine being.
Yeah, I think it goes along with what you said, or what we were talking about the self-sourcing too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you make a good point about what's indigenous to a certain area, um, and then of course, the second part is what I just said. I mean, the energy is affecting everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
affecting the voice. We're not the only ones gaining our voice.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
rest of the aspects around us, everything is
Mm-hmm.
is is going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So so there's that self-respect that translates into mutual respect, or you could
Mm-hmm.
say there's that open-heartedness, and in order to be there, and then also to gain the abilities, the fantastic, incredible abilities that come with it. It doesn't come, it has to come, you know responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
It really
And
does.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes it takes patience and dedication, and plant medicine takes you to somewhere, in hours or something, and it just doesn't stay with you. It doesn't stick with you because you didn't go there with your own power and with your own consciousness. So, yeah, some people you know, may need that shake,
Mm-hmm.
but most of us who are trying to, consciously, looking within, don't need to have that anymore. That's what I feel. But I just needed to say that because I feel that voice from the mountain a
You have
lot.
to say what you have to say. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
the mountain, well, because yes, the mountain has a consciousness. Sometimes you get triggered or activated by a consciousness, and depending on what part of your journey. I mean, plant medicine has had its place, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a doorway. It's just like a modality.
Yeah.
We can get stuck on a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but ayahuasca has a consciousness, the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
have a
Mm-hmm.
huge consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And Shasta, I mean, the two or three times I've been there, just it's a I don't know how to say this, but to me, walking down that main street in Shasta and walking by your place was a perfect example because it was surreal. Where are you going to be walking down the street in a little bitty place? The mountains. You see the mountains right there. It's gigantic, and you see this galactivation room and this place with all these drawings like you have in there, and it's I mean, I think you and probably others there are like a key holder or a ambassador. You know what I mean? Or a bridge
Mm-hmm.
between our star family in the mountain and
Mm-hmm.
our brothers and sisters in the community.
Right. Yeah. And
Have you met uh other souls there that kind of work in the capacity with the mountain like you do?
yes and no. There's elders I've met. She's humbly working with us and the masters, and but she's not in the front, stage so much. Um, yeah, I there are many who claims to be that gatekeeper or grid worker or
Right.
portal holder. Um, yeah, I just haven't really connected with many of them
Well, that's not
so far.
uncommon. I mean, I
Yeah,
know like a lot of people in Sedona and they don't know each other.
yeah,
I mean,
yes.
it's, but Shasta's, Sedona's a special place. Shasta's got is a very special place. You would know obviously much more than I do, but even just having gone through there, I remember almost every moment there, and it carried the weirdest things, like like even in a certain area, all these weird things happen. Like it was just very strange, like we were invisible,
Mm,
right? And then
mm,
another area and all these magical things happen. And then we went halfway up the mountain, where you can park. And we had like played some music and just, I don't think we had a fire, but it was cool. It was winter, and that was incredible.
mm-hmm.
Do you feel like, are you hearing the mountain more as time goes on? I mean, like, is your connection getting like more unified?
Yes, as I hear myself more and more, I think I can hear the mountain more.
Yeah.
That's the way I understand, and there's so much more that mountain wants to speak, and it really depends on in each of us. This place is so expanded that everybody has their own uh, experience, connection with different beings of the light. But also, Mountain says, it's not just here, just the mountain is a reflection of the possibility that how we can connect to the different
Mm,
dimensions.
mm,
So, people come and seek for something here, but the mountain says, just come here to really enjoy your life, enjoy every moment being in the nature, and don't have any expectation. That's when the magic happens. So, mm-hmm. So mountain doesn't really give so much. It's more like really holds the space for many to open our possibility and ability to connect. So it's really self-discovery place more than trying to come and seek out the entrance to the telos, for example.
mm. Well, I mean, that part of it is so interesting. I mean,
Mm.
even the stuff that hasn't been hidden, like, that, what was that, like in 1908, 1912, when that group went down there. I mean, that's very well documented.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of other ones, but I believe what you're saying is right, whether we're talking about plant medicine or a modality or um, you know, I don't know, a school of thought or a following or belief or whatever, everything's pointing to, like, everything is literally, like with your example of how you explained what happened to you at the conference, but everything is literally a mirror that's pointing everything right back to you. It's
Mm-hmm.
all delivering the same message, and it's like as it comes back into us and our focus is with us, it's all there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But you got to
definitely.
go through here. I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could just say it's really the heart.
Yeah, it's the heart.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I think I spoke already, but as a creator, we are on the training ground right now. Um, and listening to other people speak like about like their parallel earth and which earth we're gonna go and all of that, very confusing stories. And it's like, well, you can speak like that, but also right here, right now creates the new earth. So they're like all over the place, and different earth is there, and which earth they're gonna be chosen to go. And it's like, well, I only have one earth in my heart. It's like really interesting to hear that kind of story. It kind of invokes the fear and confusion as well. And I'm like, well, where is this person going? Where is this one come from? This confusing stories, and really make me realize how I like to keep my frequency, every day in this now moment,
Right.
and this now creates the future. So we don't need to really focus on the future thing, like even prophecies and all of that. If you believe in apocalypse, I can't really say the word, all this like disaster happens and all of that, written by Bible or any other prophecy. And if you want to believe that, then you're a creator, so you create it, and then you create it so that reinforce more of your belief system. And without knowing, they're creating this, disaster. And like, well, what do I want to create? That's what I go back to, will go
Mm-hmm.
back into.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to look that way or
Mm-hmm.
manifest that way, but
Mm-hmm.
many people falling into it with the fear and all the stories, even like, ancient, prophecy, whatever. It's like prophecy just finished when they express it. It's like it's gone. And so every moment you are the prophesizer in a way, and so that's why we are very responsible with being in alignment with whatever it is in the source. And so we have to be really, I don't know, I feel like I need to be quiet for a long time,
Yeah.
spend time in the nature, not that, I'm not enjoying my life. I'm enjoying my life as much as I can, but also there's this time of dedicated, spacey time, quiet time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. The quiet time thing, since wow, it's I think it's become more and more and more. It really kind of started with COVID, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
lockdowns. And
Yeah.
but like March, April, May, and June. And by the way, that went by like that. I mean, when we were in it, it's like every day's a full day. It just feels like, uh, the energy that runs through you every month, it's just got more intense.
Mm-hmm.
The quiet time. Um, God, I was gonna ask you something, and somebody sent me a message that I forgot to send them back a message. I told them I'm on the show. Yeah, you were saying you were talking about the mountain. Um, oh, I know what it was. You were talking about if a person, we're quantum thought creators, so
Mm-hmm.
whatever we think is actually what's going to occur,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 we either accept that or we don't. And if we accept it, like I got this said a couple of days ago, which was if you believe you're a god, then live like a god. And it stayed with me all day long. I'm like, wow, that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to ask you is something I've been kind of reflecting on is that, okay, that not only is it the thoughts that I create and the environment that I create, but also somehow or another within the human relationships and others, but the humans on the forefront, because that's our closest mirror, I guess you could say. It's in those fields, those little bitty fields that make up the whole field, that we actually make the change, or you can see the change. It's like being able to come across anyone and maintain your field, right? You know what I mean? There's not the drama or the conflict or and it's like I'm seeing evidence of that in my own mind, my own life. That's actually how all that changes, or it's part of what you see as it all changes. But yeah, I totally agree with you, especially now, with this energy and the awareness so high, and instant manifestation, right? Karma, instant karma. But yeah, it's because it's speaking really loud, and it's I think we should give ourselves some credit. And if I don't even want to make a joke and say, I know we're stubborn and we were hard-headed and we were asleep, but that was what we agreed to do. And we're coming out of it now. And so the more we realize we're coming out of it, and being present with ourselves and sharing ourselves in a shared space, the less we're even going to be thinking about all that other stuff. It's not even going to be in our head. We're going to be like, what the hell were we doing? Talk about ayahuasca. We took the biggest ayahuasca trip in the history of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And do you spend or how much time do you spend the music, the art, the artistry? For me, since about a year ago, has been so huge. Like, I don't get to do it all the time. I usually do it like once a week for an hour, and I never practice. And every time my soul just expands, and we share it, and we live stream it, but it's not for that. It's something like what you were talking about earlier with the grandmothers. It's just this environment. It doesn't look like a big fire and a bunch of us around the fire, as the sun's going down and the drums. It's in virtual reality. It's on the internet, and the energy, all the people are still there. And you just, we invite people on, and I don't know, there's just something about that spontaneity and having music and sound and voices and lyrics and different things, and not rehearsing and just doing it, that speaks to me about how we're supposed to live our life. So, something like that.
Yeah. And you guys are creating this like infinite possibility, kind of like a spider web in a way, and as you share the music from your web, it just spreads into different grids, on the earth, whoever is listening to. And I know you're like, you're one of the role is like really you're activator, you stimulate the grid system. Oh, yes.
I keep that with me.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I keep Anubis with my crystal there, and and then I keep this thing.
Yeah, you're such a powerful activator wherever you go or whatever you do on your web. So as we do that more and more, and that infinite creative web, expands and fortifies in a way. And not only that, I think we as we share more and more from instant, heart center, we support each other too, and then we end up healing ourselves too, because it all comes back. And I can understand, you feel expanded afterwards, and I feel that way too. I feel more like a healing comes back to me when I share my sound, healing things. And I
hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, Thanks for that.
Yeah, because it's the frequency that comes out of your heart and then ripple out and then it comes back and it's like, wow, this is like the most healing thing that it's like a medicine goes in and out,
Hmm.
And I think we are all medicine in that way,
Yeah.
And but the frequency is powerful. Music is very powerful.
Yeah.
And we are
Expect, yeah.
really learning to use it from the heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I connect with it. When I tried it, it's about a year ago to the day. It was like a year ago, 2 3 days ago. But I went into Sedona and I sat down for the first time. I told you about it, and that's what happened. I didn't know it at the time. I just knew I was shaking, I was quivering, I was scared, and then I just kind of like closed my eye, or just, you know what I mean, like just
Mm-hmm.
blocked everything out, and it was frightening. And then if I think of it all the way up until now, it's just it's the same transparency, I guess would be the word, or it's an expanding transparency of the heart,
Mm-hmm.
and it's becoming it's still got that little fear in it, but
Mm-hmm.
not really. And I find myself, I just close my eyes and I don't even know where the words come from, much
Mm-hmm.
less the melodies or the rhythms or the phrasing. But yeah, I look at you. You're one of the first people that I really came across in my work that brought that element to the table, that this originality. It's even with your whole story, because what you create that's behind you, like this,
Mm-hmm.
and what's behind you and what's in your establishment, I've never seen anything like that, even to this day. And then
Mm-hmm.
to be able to walk in there and get an education and then do shows with you and explaining how it all started with the rabbit universe, and just all it was the first time that I saw something in a geometric fashion that spoke to me and gave me memories of the universes, right? The
Mm-hmm.
multiverses, that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you um then I think we did a show, because I didn't even know you did music. And then we said, let's do a show. And then, when I was on the road or when I got home or whatever, or I saw you on the flute, and then you change it up again. I used to play you a lot on the Syllogy remixes when I would just play different people's stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that part of it. I don't want to say that we're not going to be talking, but there's so many ways, and I think we've learned with the silence, the solitude over the last 3 4 years, that's come back online, and you hear the body speaking, but also these types of individual expressions and collaborations, because where there's two or more, it becomes a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It becomes huge
Mm-hmm.
activations. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
Sim-
just don't know how much more gift that we have within us, And yeah, it's really fearful every time I play music, just like you. But I value the genuine desire, behind the fear. There's this genuine quality, and so just we just go like, okay, fuck it, we're gonna do this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You're exactly right. It's so weird. That's weird. But you know how I know when I was on the street, you get to this point where you just go, and I think we've all said it with life. What else you got? I mean, you know what? You know what? You just get past this point and you just say, hey, fuck it. I'm just gonna go for it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what that feels like. And it also
Mm-hmm.
feels like something really, really deep within me, like
Mm-hmm.
coming from my root chakra,
Mm-hmm.
is just slowly moving up, and it'll flame up every now and then and come out my throat. But it's so deep and
Mm-hmm.
it's so like primordial. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
laying in my bed sometimes at night
Mm-hmm.
connecting, and I'll just start. like it'll come like a guttural, like just really like slow, like lava coming out, but and then it'll just start going, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's like I'll just be watching myself.
Wow.
I guess that's the kind of stuff that we're getting into now,
Yeah.
that we're present with each other and present with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And getting used to the unknown to be, to
Mm.
be present all the time and flow with it. Yeah.
So you went to a UFO conference and there was no UFOs showed up and people got mad
I
at you?
didn't go, but that's what I heard. you know, there were a lot of
Yeah.
people complaining. I don't know all of them, but the comment that I heard
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
people, it's like, oh,
I know some people that
Mhm,
have, like my friend Victoria Lillenquist.
mhm,
She films and has for a long time. I don't know how. I've seen ships. I've seen things in Sedona. I've seen the same ship in Sedona, in Village of Oak Creek, that I saw in Provo, Utah, years
mhm,
apart, very
mhm,
close. So I don't know what these things are. I don't
mhm,
I don't even really think about it, because to me it's still the same thing as the mountain. It's somehow or another speaking to me, and it's all sending me back to me, because
mhm,
anything out there is going to take, and it's a bit tricky, but if I want to get to know the mountain, I'll go in here to see the mountain,
mm.
because it's
That's
in here,
wise.
right? You
That's
know what I mean?
wise.
Everything is
Yes.
in here.
Mhm,
I can go in here, and
mhm,
I really feel like that. Yeah, I know that
mhm.
sounds like a cliche, but I feel like that's what we're doing. That's what you described at the beginning of the show.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
The universes are within us. They say that, but I'm just more and more realizing it.
mm,
And even my drawings, they came out of deep from my heart. And I honestly, this little person didn't created it. It's more like I'm still learning from it. It's like the vast information, the wisdom that comes through me. And so everything is inside of us. So yeah, we're just so amazing, vast being, that we don't even know how powerful we are. Yet the power comes genuinely from the heart in every moment. Um yeah, there's nothing to prove, nothing to, show off. It's just being, and everything just naturally flows. That would be easy for everyone. We don't need to prove anymore, try to convince anyone. And if I think the UFO watching, I think that was like someone who was trying to prove it. There's some presence out there.
mhm.
And yeah, I can recognize where she comes from. But yeah, as a speaker and as a leader, I would really advise, well, first of all, maybe she needed to do meditation first, to tune up everyone in a higher frequency. And some people do that and be able to, see something in a group. But it's really about frequency, and you have to be aware of where you're at. And so, yeah, it's all good. Everybody's learning and
Yeah,
growing,
it
and having
it
fun.
again, everything points back to, look, I've researched so much stuff over the years, and still keep my tabs on things etherically and otherwise. And there's so much technology out there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that it, you know, it's infinite both ways. It's infinite that way, it's infinite inside, but it's in here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Mm-hmm.
leads to that. And
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, imagine having okay, say there's something there, which I'm saying there is. There's all kinds of stuff there, stuff that we don't even know about. And that species has a 3,000 IQ,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Mm-hmm.
we have 125. Like, not only is that there, but there's something that has a 6,000 IQ and a 9,000 IQ. I mean, there's all this stuff going on. It's still us. It's still the same thing for them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's still
Yeah.
about them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's met God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
Oh.
and like they say, everything is going through it. You know, the animals, the trees, the earth, the sun.
Mm.
I mean, these sun flares and sun storms. I mean, solar storms. These things are. I never paid attention to them
Me neither.
until my head started burning and my face. I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about. You got to dehydrate.
Well, also, there are also part of us, like, oh, today there's the huge solar flare, so that's why I'm like not feeling good and all of that. And that's a separation, that's
Yeah.
part of us,
Mm-hmm.
solar flare and everything, all the phenomenon in the universes are part of us. And so that's why we need to go deep here, because everything is there, that the power is there, the source is here, and then we can really ground into this body and really recognize that we are this source light. And we hear this over and over, and I'm not really 100% embodying that, but little by little,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm getting to understand a little more than last year, for example. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last year was hell on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was we got spit out at the end. Like, wow, wow, what happened? No, but 23, I love the energy, and
Mm.
I love the um, like the waves. I can, I think you can see the expansion. You
Mm-hmm.
see more and more evidence of it, and there's so many things that we're realizing and that are happening so fast that we're not even catching them all. And you go like something comes in, say the first of the month, and it'll be 3 weeks, and we'll be like, wow, this just happened. Like, that's what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a lot of uh purging if we're not looking at something. If we're not feeling good, if we're not happy, if we're physically, you know, these aren't necessarily bad things, because there's no way we can remove this stuff without things showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to show up in projection, it's going to show up in something being projected on you, it's going to show up in your body, in your mood. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, with all that being said, if we are being more present with ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and increase, because if the more present we are with ourselves, I know it sounds corny, but the more you love yourself.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say too.
Yeah.
It's this love that no matter what we are going through, it's like you can embrace ourselves. Oh, okay, today, you just know that you need to rest. Then you
Yeah.
have to give rest, emotion comes up, you don't judge that anymore, or,
Mm-mm.
try to push it down. Oh, negative emotion, it's like, well, what do you do when the child is crying? The inner child is crying. Well, outside of the child is crying, it's like, you don't say shut up, you just you just go, oh, I hear you. And you've got to do that to yourself, and really learning how to be that mother, and and that father of being able to hold a space for the child to cry, and be that amazing mother to just hold them, baby, to comfort, and you know um just witness this expansive love, the capacity of love that we have within, and practice that to ourselves. That really creates the unity and harmony within, and a peace.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes.
And that way we can create the harmonious family and community, right? So peace start from within. That's what everybody say, and then I'm just really understanding more and more. Okay, this is how it's gonna work,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what you said about this thing with the taking care of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
resting,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like that's so important. Like, I mean, with the network after the first, like the first 3 months were just like a whirlwind, and all
Mm-hmm.
the energy and going through everything at the same time, and conventional planning and things that you would do just didn't apply. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was so weird and unorthodox. And then we got to the point to make the decision on the Syllogy Fest about a week ago. And at the same time, I'm going through the most intense um, things, right? Like the most
Mm-hmm.
intense things, and I'm
Yeah.
not like just taken down by these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of functioning and doing what I have to do, like do a show and setting up some appointments, but I can do very little, very little. I'm noticing that, I'm not like a lot of people, not eating as much. And when I eat, it's gone. Like the energy just burning off of me. And,
Mm-hmm.
but I found that um, I had this like loop saying, you need to do more, you need to do more. We need to get some money coming in. We need to do it. And I just kept hearing, no, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it went on for like the whole time. And like I said, it kind of lifted yesterday for me. And
Mm-hmm.
um it's just strange, but the third thing, or the third part of every day, and I'm not talking about regular sleep, even though that's important, was these periods. It could be anywhere from 30 minutes or to 3.5 4 hours just laying there,
Mm-hmm.
just, or occasionally going for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
But there were these times I couldn't even do that. I just had to
Mm-hmm.
lay down and just kind of, I don't know, sometimes it would just be blank meditation, and sometimes it would be watching like third eye videos, and sometimes it would just be thoughts, but most of all it was rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say probably half the time I fall asleep for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. And we are energetic beings, so more and more we nurture our energy and things flow. So, the we're going back to the nature, really. That's why I think the Divine Mother is the presence. It's really, really, you know, um, big, coming down on the earth because it's life, We, in a way, we didn't have life, when we were working 9 to 5 and totally disconnected from the being of the nature that we are.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't listen to when we wanted to take a nap. You were still working in this cubicle 9 to 5, and you have to really kill the connection with ourselves. And now everybody, not everybody, but many people are getting to be aware. We need to really take care of ourselves because this is the source and
Yeah.
source of abundance, because if we're not flowing, how can we bring the flow, in any forms and shapes, right? So sometimes we have to rest, and when we do that, then we bring more inspiration. We receive more inspiration, more abundance. It's a really natural thing. It's a really
Mm-hmm.
simple thing. The mind wants to say something, we have to do this more and more, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, forget it, gotta really be the nature that I am, and
Yeah.
honor this flow. And when you do that, yeah, things gets easy, and that's the new earth. It's really easy. We don't need to struggle and try to do things, so many
Yeah.
things, and then love, self-love, and that melts most of our, the
That's the key.
stagnation.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
The key is self-love. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the key. That is um, where our projections were and are sometimes
Mm-hmm.
still. Um, our externalization. I mean, I think we're kind of getting past blame. I don't, you know what I mean? Shame and blame.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, self-love. If you know how like they talk about, go back to when you entered the womb, and you entered the realm, right? Or the womb, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
that point of separation, that's where the original separation was. That's where the memories were swiped. To me, it's like it, what we're clearing is way beyond that. It's like the first time we entered the realm itself, like all
Mm-hmm.
the multidimensionality, all the lives that we were going to live, that from we came from outside of it, right? Like when we're one and we come out as an individual soul, and we're going to go into this realm of duality, right? and
Mm-hmm.
and that point of separation, to me it feels that depth, like to go that far back, go back to the first step out of pure oneness or something to that effect. And I've been having these journeys the last couple of days, and that's kind of a explanation of what it kind of looked like to me. But I take everything metaphorically, and I can feel the energy in my body. The
Mm-hmm.
amount of energy that's been released for me in the last 3 days has been just crazy, crazy, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I, it's literally some of it, some of what I consume is just literally disintegrating in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any physical? Because you look younger. You look you look young anyway, but I mean, like you look extra young
Yeah.
today. Like your skin's vibrant. Have you?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, I
because I
have
mean,
my own physical issues, and so I've been just really gentle with myself with all this shift and change. Also, holding my
hang
gallery.
hang on one
Sorry.
second.
Uh huh. Somebody's there. I'll play flute songs while he's away. Oh, you're gone. I didn't know how long you're gonna be gone, so I decided to play
I thought
flute.
that was great. I came back and no, I got to start. No one ever knocks on my door. Nobody's knocking on my door. I thought it was like some kind of an emergency. That was
What was
beautiful.
it? Oh,
No,
thank
no,
you.
it
I
was
don't
okay.
see you.
Oh, yeah, I turned it so they could see you.
Okay.
God, that was weird. But see,
God's
everything's
knocking the door.
it's very strange. Strange things. And nothing that happens is meaningless. I mean, everything means something.
Mm-hmm. Who was knocking on the door, I wonder? What was the message?
His name was Xavier.
What?
His name was Xavier.
Xavier?
Yeah,
What does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me see. Let's see what it means. Xavier. What does it mean? It's I don't know what it means. Who knows? God,
Oh,
that was weird. Yeah, I thought you were going to keep playing.
Oh, well, I didn't want to take over. I just wanted to entertain people while you're gone. So,
How come you can get Zoom to not cut out when you play the flute?
oh, was the sound cutting out?
No, she's saying how. That's Sahara. She's saying how can you get Zoom to not cut out when you play the flute?
Okay, so there's this thing on the top left
Yeah.
called original sound on. I mean, original sound for musician.
Yeah.
And you just press that and turn it on. That way, the sound doesn't cut off. But if it's off, the sound doesn't go through.
Right.
I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Yeah. And do you use interface? Any kind of interface?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that sound, that recording, what is it? Original sound for musicians. Yeah. If it says off, you just click it and then it is on. Boom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned.
I learned a lot from Ty, but I still don't know much.
Yeah, me neither.
I just show up at the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And try to write a
Wow.
few words. So yeah, December 8th, 9th. 8th,
That
9th,
would be
10th.
exciting
Wouldn't that
after
be
this summer.
crazy seeing you on the stage with like Anana or who else is going to be? Oh, Angie Love, I think is going to be there. I mean, all these people, I could just see like almost like a drum circle type of, and people just see what happens. Get the instruments going and see what happens.
Is it
So-
like a camping situation?
No, it's a big piece of land. It's like 30 acres,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a big building, like 15,000 square feet. It's got 2,000 parking spaces.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's plenty big, and it's 6 months in advance. So I think we're going to see a pretty good number of people. I think we'll probably see 300, maybe 500 people.
Wow. Yeah. I
We
mean,
might
it's
even have
really,
might even have two stages, huh?
it's a time together, isn't it?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, it is. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's what next year's going to be all about.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this year is really to stepping into the new direction, like a direction to the new something that we are creating and really materializing it, really physicalizing it and really be able to experience it too,
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna build more and more stepping stone this year for more to come. Because this foundation needs to be solid, because everything else is gonna collapse, I guess. So not from the fear.
you
But,
can say that again. You can say that again. I wonder what that collapse is going to look like. It's happening fast, though.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And I'm ready
Yeah.
for anything, but I'm like you. I feel like whatever occurs, we're the ones that make it occur.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was saying I've been reflecting on like interpersonal relationships, like what I say to people. You know, like for instance, like I was telling you about the trying to get the network to this next stage where we add all this programming, which is nothing I was going to talk to you about. Because like I'm committed to do like 25 hours a week, and then we're working with some other people. I want to bring them in to get another 25 hours going a week,
Wow.
and then we will run in between that 50 hours a week. We'll run excerpts from all of the shows, right? So they'll always have something to see. We'll have it on the handheld. They can click it, see what's showing on Syllogy, right? But as I'm like 2 weeks ago, I sent the first email out, and I'm like, "Here's what we're going to do. Are y'all interested?" And I just found people on the list that are in the community, and I sent it out, and all these people wrote back. I'm like, "Okay, we're going to get together by the weekend," and then the weekend comes, and I'm just like on my back. I'm going through all this stuff, and then I get back on Monday. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to have something in the next 2 days, and we'll go to the next meeting," and I'm making this video, and then I'm going through this stuff, and I'm on my back again, and so I was like, that was part of the awareness and the embodiment was I had my mind on what I needed to do and the commitments that I made,
Mm-hmm.
but I realized that it was more important to not judge myself and just take care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I got to the other side of it after a couple of weeks, and I'm like, okay, I just need to be more careful what I say, because now I realize that I'm the priority, and everything's going to be okay anyway because everyone's feeling the energy too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the alignment of physical and mental, emotional and spiritual, everything, that is really very, very important. Um, I think that's the source in this birthing process. You know, it's
Yeah.
the yeah, it's the ground, it's the earth. Needs to be nutritious so that the sprouts naturally grow and blossom naturally, effortlessly. So I think we are really learning how to be in that state of nature,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really matter, really, like spirit level. It's like it doesn't really matter what we really do. Actually, it's more like how are we shining our light,
Right.
and one more we are harmonious within and more joyful within, then our frequencies is high, and that's all really matters. And but in the human aspects, we want to do this and that and that, and we want to manifest this, and we want to convey this information, and but once you go in that direction, we kind of lose the balance. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just taking that all in. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't want to say that we're going to run out of things to talk about, but it's becoming, we're going to talk a lot less. I think that's what's going to happen. Because it is just going to be, the rest of the sounds. It's going to be all the things that we haven't noticed because we have been asleep on our feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been there. We were just in a space that we agreed to come to that was really weird,
Mm-hmm.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We'll be less and less listening to others too,
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
I
True.
think. Yeah, and then so that's why there's less and less talk. And it's more like a mutual knowingness that we're going
Yeah,
to share, and expansive creative field that we are going to be together and co-create. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
well, like the grandmothers, and like our roots, which is not so much about instruction or you got to do this or you got to do that. It's about storytelling,
Mm.
and also customs. Customs that are actually sacred wisdom, like
Mm-hmm.
working with the plants, and so it's all done by a living example and the storytelling. Because I mean, look
Mm-hmm.
look at the stories that have made it. You know what I mean? Like some of them are 6,000 years, 12,000 years. I mean, there's evidence of storytelling. I mean, and that's how they pass down the wisdom. So there's a benefit to hearing people or being witnessed. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
witness, being
Mm-hmm.
witness.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told me, I was asking them, somebody that was on the show, I was asking them, what is it like when, because like me and Morgan had like these beings come in the room one time, right? And it was all cool, everything was fine. And I said, well, what is that? Was that aspects of me and her? How does that work? And they said to me that they didn't know for sure, but that everything of, like, say, importance, or maybe everything, I would think it's probably everything, uh, is witnessed. Like there's something about it happening, but also being witnessed. And I think that's maybe part of what we do for each other is we witness.
Mm.
Because I see it everywhere I turn, especially like with the show. It's a good place to come look for that, is to see the transformation in people,
Mm-hmm.
over time. I'm sure they see it in me. But it's like seeing a kid. I've got 6 kids, and sometimes you go on a business trip for a month and you come back, and the kid looks like a totally different person. You see how fast they grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's good times. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so do you want to play a little flute or do a prayer or something, or whatever you want to do before we? I mean, it's up to you. What do you feel like? That's the most important thing, which
Right?
we didn't mention. How do you feel? What's it feel like?
Mm.
Somebody says, "Do you want to do something?" We don't just go, "Yeah, yeah." We say, "How does that feel?" Everything's about how does it feel, and there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
right or wrong about how you feel.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. I wanna sing.
Oh yes.
Okay. I have a new song, so
Yeah, that was nice.
I love singing now these days.
I do too. I
Mm.
mean, not like that. That's incredible. Sounds like an angel. But I love mixing stuff. Like mixing
Mm-hmm.
different types of sounds and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What would happen? I like to play with
Mm-hmm.
it. On
Yeah,
my
that would be good too.
yeah.
Last year I sang along with other people's music, and I really enjoyed that too. So looking forward to some kind of collaboration as well. Because I've been singing by myself here in my gallery. So, when you play with somebody else, mixing the energy and frequency, you discover more of yourself too. The capacity and the aspect of myself that I haven't seen. And that's the joyful part of coming together too. In a creative way. So.
Um, yeah. I'm gonna reach out to you and talk to you about a couple things. But yeah, I feel it for some reason. Um, yeah, like I said, the timing of this show, even though the energy for me the last 3 4 days has just been through the roof, absolutely through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really happy that we get to share space today and talk
Yeah,
about
me
this.
too. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for, you know, yeah,
of course.
being you.
And you too. I love you. I'll see you later. I'll
Yeah.
get you this MP4 over here in just about 20 minutes, so you can share it out. You can have it shared out if you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you soon. I'll be reaching
Okay.
out.
Really
Okay.
nice talking with you today.
Yeah. You look great. Bye bye.
You